Spirit Sports Consultants presents
our look at the AFC Conference for 2024. It's going to be a strong conference this year. You got teams at the top: Chiefs, Ravens, Texans, Bengals, Browns. We're going to give you a record forecast for each team, even the cellar dwellers, and give our playoff picks, the teams that we think are going to win each division. We're going to break it down by the wild card, and then we're going to take a look at the two teams we feel should make the AFC Championship game. I'm sure that'll be controversial. The AFC East gives us three teams that we think are playoff candidates. A lot of people are hating on the Jets, but what we've seen so far in training camp, we think Aaron Rodgers is going to improve the team that was 7-10 last year with virtually no offense. And the Dolphins and Bills are definitely playoff challengers. We're not sure which of those two will make the playoffs. Let's start with the Buffalo Bills, the team that features Josh Allen, a quarterback. They're always going to win a few with a modern version of Brett Favre under center. We do think they're going to miss Mr. Stephon Diggs just a little bit, and we do like the Bills here to go 10-7 and end up as a wild card for this year. We love the Miami Dolphins offense, probably the most exciting in the league, but we're concerned about some of those rule changes to reduce the motion, pre-snap motion that Tyreek Hill specialized in, and defensively they struggle as well. So we see the Dolphins taking a little bit of a step back, still making the playoffs, ending up with a 9-8 record and a wild card appearance. For all the Aaron Rodgers talk, we love the Jets defense. Look at this, second in the league pass defense, fourth in yards per attempt, which we think is a more important metric. Then you got shutdown cornerback Sauce Gardner. We think if Aaron Rodgers to come in and do just enough, add 3+ wins. They were 7-10 last year. We like them at 10-7 and division win. The New England Patriots are a work in progress offensively, having potentially two quarterbacks of the future with Joe Milton and first-round draft pick Drake May. But let's look at the defense here. Best in the league against the run and sixth in the league against the pass, and that was missing Christian Gonzalez for a big part of the season. We think this is a rebuilding year for the Pats, 4-13 for the fourth place finish, but we'd like them next year to contend. Next, we have the AFC North, the division we identify as the best in the NFL. All four teams are viable playoff candidates, starting off with the defending champ, Baltimore Ravens. We see them as finishing 10-7 and winning the division. We like their defense just a little bit better than the other teams. Let's look at the Cleveland Browns. They led the league in many defensive categories, and we're just wondering how Deshaun's going to do when he comes back, if he can stay healthy. We're going to give the Browns the benefit of the doubt because we are biased towards the defense. We'd like them at 9-8, and this is a change. We have them tying the Bengals, but getting the wild card spot. Cincinnati Bengals, the problem has never been the offense as long as you got Joey B back there and healthy, although he is an injury risk for this season. The bigger problem is the defense right here. Last in the league pass defense, 8.1 yards per attempt to almost 250 a game. That's not going to do it in the NFL. We see the Bengals finishing at 9-8 and tying with the Browns for the final wild card spot, but ultimately losing on tiebreak. We think they do have a higher ceiling, though. If Burrow stays healthy all season, that defense shows some improvement. They could end up far better than this. The Pittsburgh Steelers are a good team and a great division. We think that's going to hold them back a little bit. Also, quarterback issues. How's Wilson's calf going to hold up? Is Justin Fields going to ultimately end up being the starter? We think that defense is just top tier. We like what they've done, but we think they're going to be a little bit short. Tough division, like we said. We see them finishing at 8-9, fourth place, and what we regard as the best division in football. The AFC South gives us three potential challenges with the Texans, Jags, and Colts. The Colts could be the X factor getting Anthony Richardson back. If he stays healthy all season, look out there. But the favorite has to be the Texans here with C.J. Stroud adding Stephon Diggs to the wide receivers Nico Collins and Tank Dell, and then running back Joe Mixon. Then defensively getting Daniel Hunter to add along with Will Anderson Jr. It's going to be a very explosive team. We like the Texans here. We think this might be the best record they've ever had, 11-6, and winning the AFC South yet again. The Colts were one play away from winning the division last season, and that was being without Anthony Richardson for the greater part of the season. We think their offense is going to be just fine, especially with having Jonathan Taylor back. Anthony Richardson here is an X factor. Really dominated the Texans in the game they played at Houston. We see them, though, as finishing with a 9-8 record, just missing the wild card. We think their pass defense is their liability, and think that's going to hold them back from otherwise making a wild card. Jacksonville Jaguars won the AFC South in 2022 and started out great in 23 with an 8-3 start, only to then be met by a 4-game losing streak against tough teams, the Bengals, Browns, Ravens, and the Bucks. We think that they are poised to challenge the Texans for the division this year. If the Texans slip, they're going to be right there. But as things stand now, we see them ending up at 9-8 and just missing a wild card. But we flag it that way because if any of the other teams ahead of them slip, we see the Jaguars can make it. The new-look Tennessee Titans move on from Coach Mike Vrabel and Derrick Henry, which was in many ways their identities for several years as a tough defensive running team. Now it's going to be quarterback Will Levis, DeAndre Hopkins, Calvin Ridley, and they're going to be a passing team. We think they're going to be really exciting, but too many questions on defense. We see them at 6-11. And in the AFC West, can anybody challenge Kansas City for dominance? We don't believe so, but we'll start off with the Denver Broncos, still in a rebuilding mode. Question marks are there at quarterback. Have the rookie Bo Nix drafted. Who is Sean Payton going to get? Who can best be his new Drew Brees in his offense? We're not sure anybody can put up numbers and be as dynamic as Super Bowl champion Drew Brees that may have spoiled Sean Payton a little bit. We see that unfortunately for the Broncos in this division, they're going to have a tough year, 4-13, going to end up being in last place, setting up another rebuilding season in 2025. Jim Harbaugh comes in to reset the LA Chargers. Won't call it a rebuild, but he's definitely going to implement his own brand of football, which we think will take a little bit. Although when you have really great quarterback Justin Herbert there, you never know what might happen. We think the LA Chargers have the potential. However, they did lose a lot on offense, losing Keenan Allen, losing Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, a lot of the offensive skill players. So we're curious how they're going to end up. We think it'll take about a season or two for Jim Harbaugh to get his people in, and then the Chargers will really be a threat. But for this season, we like to see them at 8-9 and in second place. Las Vegas Raiders. We see a lot of potential with this team, but the questions with the quarterback position, they're going to use the preseason to figure out who the starter is, Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew. But we see a lot of potential, especially with that defense. Now you have Madman Max Crosby paired up with Christian Wilkins coming over from the Dolphins. We see a lot of potential with that defense, but with offensive questions, a first-year head coach, full year, we see this kind of as a rebuilding, kind of getting in sync year. We see them at 8-9 and third place, but with some upside, they can decide on a quarterback early. And now the two-time defending champ Kansas City Chiefs. What else can you say? It's bad news for the NFL, good news for Kansas City fans, and that the Chiefs won the championship last year, won the Super Bowl with one of their weaker offensive performances. Only the 3 seed in the AFC. Defense really made the difference. Patrick Mahomes didn't really have reliable receivers other than Kelsey. Still managed to win clutch games, beat teams that we think were better, San Francisco and then Baltimore in the AFC Championship game. When are we going to give more credit to Steve Spagnuolo, who's done an unbelievable job as the DC, making that a balanced team? Look at the Chiefs this year. We fear that they're even better. We see them finishing 13-4 with that number 1 overall seed in the AFC. We went back and watched all their games from last season. We saw 3 games that they should have won if not for wide receiver issues. Game 1 against Detroit, game against Philadelphia, and then Buffalo with that questionable offsides call. We think the Chiefs are the team to beat, and they're going to have home field throughout. Let's take a look at the AFC playoff teams. We've changed this from our last video. We have the Dolphins at 7, Browns at 6, and the Bills at 5. Those are the teams that join our division winners, which are Baltimore, Houston, the Jets, and the Chiefs. Let's take a look at the teams we think will make the AFC Championship game, and then we have our prediction for the AFC Champion. For the AFC Championship game, we have the Chiefs hosting me, the number 1 overall seed. We struggle between the Ravens and the Texans, but ultimately we're going to go with the Texans here. That 2-3 matchup, I think the Texans will get it at home, ultimately come out ahead. But really, looking at the pass rush from the Chiefs, they're going to be able to give C.J. Stroud some issues. We think the Texans pass rush is strong too, but at home, Arrowhead, Chiefs again, Steve Spagnuolo, Andy Reid. You can't beat that coaching combination plus Patrick Mahomes. Thanks for joining for our look at the AFC in 2024. Be sure to subscribe and set notifications to see our next video in which we're going to take a look at the NFC. We have changed it from our earlier video with a few updates.
That's all for this time. Thank you for joining. Please subscribe to our channel, and we look forward to sharing our future videos with you.